Ooh. That's synchronization. They actually are, like, dead on. That's awesome. Thought I was going to have to adjust the timer, but nope, we're good. So both these guys go and cut first. It's going to make things, for commentary-wise, a lot easier. We'll see how well they go. Slurpee, like, I know Slurpee just got off work, so he's probably going to be a little bit tired here, but hopefully everything goes well. So Slurpee goes for the corner jump, gets it first try. Very nice.
Good evening, everybody.
Yo, it's Fasta. Welcome.
What's up?
We've got literally screen by screen transitions here. Both runners sort of making mistakes in different screens, and it's shifted like by less than half a screen, but they're literally taking like this deboost off this Susie at the same time. It's great. I love it.
Are you watching on multi-switch or?
Well, I'm restreaming it, so I'll be, yeah. If you go to a multi-switch, you're probably is your best bet.
Okay, because Silent Kitty doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, I think that's something that only works when Feasel streams.
Gotcha. Well, give me a sec to get up to speed.
No worries. So Slurpee hits the boss door first. His health's a little lower than Beef's, but we'll see how Cut goes. Cut's not a terrible fight, although Cut's getting away from him a little bit. Ooh, Cut does get a little bit too close and snips the little bit of Slurpee's life. Some early morning puns. See, my brain sort of still works. I just have to try a little harder. So Cut is down for Beef. Slurpee trying again here.
First stage curse.
Yep, he's got a much better setup this time. He's got Cut back in the corner, so easier kill this time. So Beef with the slight advantage now due to that death, and he gets off to Elec first. We are going to see, obviously, the early Magnet Beam grab from both runners. Ooh! Oh no. Slurpee accidentally goes back to Cut stage.
Oh no.
So he's going to have to take some forced deaths here to try to game over quickly. Thankfully, actually, he took that death in the Cutman fight, because now he only has to die twice instead of 3 times.
No quick pits or spikes to kill yourself in Cut.
No.
I think these guys only do about 3 damage, so it takes 10 hits?
Yeah.
Oh no, they did 4, so 7. Okay. Nope. That's 3.
No, you're right, it's 3.
Yeah.
That's really unfortunate.
Still so much race left.
Yeah. You know, I've always wondered, and I'm sure people have already tried it, but that Yoku block screen where you can do the corner jump or go on the right side, I'm kind of curious to know what would happen if you tried to do like the ladder trick. Like, would you zip and die, or could you potentially zip and get to the other side of the screen? I've always wondered. I should mess around.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like it wouldn't benefit you.
Yeah, probably not.
Like, you could probably do it, but I don't see any way that it would be faster.
Right.
Pretty good ladder grab there for Beef.
Yep. Inching his way in to get the beam, playing it super safe. That's a very, very wise choice.
Cool. Well, he's through.
Yeah, Beef actually off to a pretty good start here.
Did you get a chance to do much pregame, or you kind of just
No,
jump right in?
literally none. So I knew Slurpee had said that he was going to be a little bit late. He had just sort of got off work and he was waiting for the bus, he said. And then I got the stream sort of set up, and I went back to the race channel, and he was in, and they were both like basically readying up. So I was like, oh. So I got the stream live, and basically went right into the race.
So this is Beef's second race. His first one was a win against Javeth in Group J.
Yeah, that's your
This
group.
will be Slurpee's first race of the tournament. Beefwatson's time, the first race was 2:05. We don't know a ton about... So Slurpee's been a Mega Man runner for a long time. Mega Man 3, Mega Man 6. I've seen him run quite a bit of Mega Man 2. And then he's... did he do 9 and 10, or just 9? So
yeah.
he's very familiar with Mega Man.
Yeah, he's done some 10, but I think mostly it's the base run that he's done.
So that said, I haven't seen a lot of his Mega Man. Haven't seen his Mega Man 1, haven't seen Mega Man 4 or 5. So, not really sure what to expect, but he is a veteran Mega Man runner.
Ooh.
But this is a very, very important matchup.
Ooh. Oh, he fell. He got knocked down really far, unfortunately. Yeah, I think when he started to learn some of the games for this tournament, I think he had said that Mega Man 4 was going to be blind for him, and he had been messaging me a little bit with some of the things he was struggling with. So I think he was pretty blind when he was first learning it here, but we'll see when we get there how that stage goes for him, or how those stages go, I should say. I know we're very likely going to be seeing him flat out just kill Dive Man with Dust, because he said he was really struggling with the skull kill. So we'll definitely be seeing that as an alternative.
Beef has to kind of abandon the ice sip here, or the first ice wrap, I should say.
Yeah.
To conserve his beams and make sure he has them for the platform section.
Yeah, exactly. So the way I do those screens, I usually end up with like 3 extra beams. So I'm like, okay, I can accept going for this for 3 tries. And if I don't get it, I just quickly say, nope, I'm out of here. Ooh, Beef has to be a little bit careful there. Ice physics, okay. A little bit scary. Slurpee's done with Elec.
Very good. But yeah, this is a really important matchup in Group J. No disrespect to Javeth, but this one might be the one that determines who advances. Javeth having already taken 2 losses.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing with only being 4 runners in a pool and only having to race each other 1 time. It's not like an overly long. You have to like execute in those 3 races, and just once you sort of go down by 2, it's kind of, well, still got 1 more to go, but I mean, at least you can still have some fun with it.
Yeah, so definitely a lot on the line for this match.
Yeah.
Both Beef and Slurpee seem to try to take a stab at the pixel to zip across the water, but neither was able to, and ended up having to take some slow trips through the water. Slurpee used a lot of beams in that section, though.
Yeah,
so he's gonna have to forego the wrap entirely.
Yeah, he used 3 there as well in that first Yoku room, so now he's gotta be careful on this section. Probably he's gonna try to only use 1, and yeah, he does, so that's good. You really want to have 2 beams to get yourself over to the refill in the middle of this long room. I'm terrified every time a runner jumps out on one of those platforms. I just think it's like not a good idea. Just bypass them entirely if you can.
Watson gets the easiest zip in the game.
Yeah, I don't know what it is for myself personally, but for whatever reason, I really struggle with that one. I seem to always fall off my beam and not get zipped. So I know it's something I'm doing wrong, but never did figure out what it was.
If for anyone that doesn't know, basically that zip, you just need to fall into that pit with enough velocity. So in this game, when you walk off of a beam, or if a beam disappears, you fall like you reach terminal velocity pretty much instantly. And so your goal there is to either walk off the beam into the pit, let the beam dissipate and fall into the pit like Beef did there, or you actually, if you can place a shorter beam and do a full jump. As long as it's a full jump and you don't get hit anything on the way down, that'll give you enough speed to clip down and zip through.
Maybe that's my problem.
Oh, nice. First try zip for Slurpee there.
Yeah, does the extra one from the ladder as well, so it gets a little bit more. I don't know.
You know, I have to test that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know how fast you actually have to do that to save time with it, but it's a cool little setup. You're already at the ladder anyway, so.
Yeah, I've yet to test whether that's actually faster, depending on how long you would have to take to set it up.
Yeah, like I know the top runners do go for that zip, but they don't do it from the ladder. They manually set it up from the ground, so they're already still moving to the right anyway. But that's obviously very difficult.
So Slurpee's gonna show off the other way to do that, where he did a full jump, bonked his head on the ceiling, and then went straight through.
So Slurpee's really not that far behind still. Ooh, he is trying to set up on the wrong... Oh, he's setting up from a different pixel?
Interesting.
I don't think he got it, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do it from that spot, but he definitely went for it. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I think he...
Gets the zip. Very nice.
I think he probably just forgot by a rung which one
it was. It could
After
be.
Taking a break from the game, I've definitely come back and just been completely on the wrong ladder rung.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially going from emulator to console, the top of the screen cuts off differently. Looks like Beef has this bomb one figured out.
Yep, does the double beam there too, so making sure hopefully he doesn't get subpixeled. So I gotta start doing that.
Yeah,
it's the little
fun
things.
Not making it.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't climb up the ladder high enough to try to jump on the beam. I'm not sure if you get a bad enough subpixel whether you can still make it if you climb to the very top that you can before screen transitioning. But
right. Well, we've also seen a couple additional strats, sort of like we saw. I think it was it Too Good? Purposely screen transitions and then let's go up on that screen so that when he falls down, he falls back onto the beam in the previous screen. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I like that.
I think that was who it was that did that.
Mega Man 1 very unique in that if you place a beam in screen transition, it's still there. Later in the castle stages, you use that fact to start a zip with a beam left on the screen from a previous screen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Thank goodness we don't have that issue in Mega Man 5, though. So Beef into the Gutsman stage, the last one for him for Mega Man 1. You can see how much easier this stage actually is with Beam in comparison to doing it without. Just being able to jump over a lot of these pits with Beam, making him very safe. Don't have to worry about the spikes.
Beef has some scary Gutsman strats. Maybe not knowing that you can actually, if you do it correctly...
Slurpee! Oh, man. I don't know if he actually climbed high enough on that one.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad subpixel there.
It's alright, though. He's got another life to try to set it up. He's having some issues getting this pixel, though. There, he's got it. Hopefully. Oh, he jumped a little late, I think, when that happens. So he screen transitioned down. Still has enough beam, though, to go for it again. Guts is down, though, for Beef, so he's off to Mega Man 2.
That was a very solid Mega Man 1. That was a sub 15 for Beef Watson. Oof. This bomb zip.
Oh no. One more try at it. That's the scary thing about Mega Man 1 is too, like, if you get hit by an enemy like that there, getting hit doesn't matter. Like, the enemies don't, like the iframes don't allow you to survive spikes in this game, so, like, spikes are always insta-kill, which is pretty scary. Slurpee looks like he's now just going to skip the zip and go about this the other way, which, unfortunately, didn't work out, so he's going to have to start the stage over.
Mega Man 1 is a janky game. It looks very smooth when in the hands of an expert, but otherwise can look very clunky.
Yeah, there's something about Mega Man 1 that, like, I never know what to really expect. Slurpee getting followed by this frog! Oh no! No!
Enemies in this game are overly attached.
Yeah. But yeah, I was gonna say, like, even, like, top runners of this game, like, you can see, you know, hours of cut. You know, just because the strats, some of these zips are just not easy to set up and do consistently.
So for those that don't know about Beef, Mega Man 2 is his main game.
Yeah.
He made a very solid showing in the Mega Man 2 tournament. As you can see from that damage from Slash Man, he knows his way around this game.
Yeah, for sure. And I know he's also put in, even before this tournament was announced, he had put in time into Mega Man 3 as well, so we'll hopefully see a little bit of some polish on those stages now that I'm sure he's practiced the 8 robots a little more. But yeah, 2 is definitely his game. Ooh, Slurpee's beam just a little bit too high to zip.
He thought he had it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's the dangerous thing about those corridor zips, too.
Ooh, his beam's too high for this one, too. Didn't quite have the right pixel. I don't know if he noticed. Okay, he's trying to reset it up. Oh, he's too high again. He's got a bad visual cue for this. You're looking for... Usually, for me, I look at Mega Man's foot. You want to see that little L shape by the bottom of his lower foot. And Slurpee's going too high on the ladder now, and he's not going to be able to zip by standing or shooting from that pixel. These zips are pixel perfect, so Slurpee actually has to be on the exact one or it won't work.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think he's just...
He hasn't right at first, and you know,
yeah,
on his first run through, but now he's had the right pixel a couple times and then shifted up one.
Yeah.
Interesting, you look at the foot, I look at his hand. You want his hand to be like one pixel above being flush with the top of the rung there.
Yeah, it was actually something that I learned, there's actually a couple strats in this game that I learned actually from watching Big John's stream. And that's actually that's how I learned that visual cue, is he pointed out the L. So I've always looked for it. So Beef just flying through this heat stage. He is gone to heat second, so we're going to be, I'm assuming, seeing fast air. Since if you're not going to do that strat, you might as well be doing heat third.
Yeah, the two major barriers to to learning heat second and picking up the 9 seconds or so that this route saves are the obviously fast air, which we're about to see, and then the Yoku blocks, which Beef did a really good job of.
Yeah. Heat giving Beef kind of a bad pattern there. The last one was kind of nice, but Heat's definitely the most RNG heavy boss of Mega Man 2. You can get those 30, 60, or 90 frame cycles, and the 90 frame ones cost you like a full second compared to the other one. Oh, he's still got the wrong pixel visual cue. So he's still trying to set this up from the wrong spot. Oh, there, he's adjusted now. I think maybe he realized it, and he went down that time. because he's got it, and he's now into the door.
I wasn't sure because he had the one beam overlaid on top of the other, which one he would actually be standing on when he placed the second beam.
Yeah, you never really know. Like, usually in Mega Man 1, it's kind of weird. Like, it kind of like pulls you to the lower beams. I don't know actually what it is that causes that, but I think that's what happened here, and it kind of worked to his benefit, because his first beam was definitely too high. But he's out of bomb. One more stage to go for Mega Man 1. Beef getting a very nice D-boost from the Cloud guy. And going for the
full granny.
The full granny air, as Zodanor likes to call it, and getting all the D-boosts, but getting across, and that's the most important part. Also getting this little bird manip, so he doesn't have to worry about the birds respawning in front of him there. So
that's pretty important, especially if you're going full granny. If you mess up the bird manipulation, you either have to wiggle the second bird, or if you take damage from it, you're definitely going to need a health drop in the later parts of the stage, because you'll only be able to take one hit from here, man.
Now, I see guys wiggle the second bird there. Can you not wiggle the first one?
I don't think you can wiggle the first one, because I think he's triggered by you reaching a certain spot of the screen.
Right. Okay.
So, like, the very first one that comes is just
it's just impossible. All right,
right.
That's
and
fair.
The second one comes a set amount of time after the first one.
That makes sense.
I think I've heard that normal mode, the wiggle despawn on the bird actually may not even save time.
Okay.
Just because you can kill the fan guys faster.
Right. Yeah. So air is down for Beef. And Slurpee coming into his Gutsman fight, so almost out of Mega Man 1. Kind of some unfortunate deaths there in Bomb. Just sort of, I think, getting a little bit confused as to the location of where to fire that beam. And he is, though, out of Mega Man 1 now, so...
That bomb fight is impossible. I mean,
it
that
is.
Guts fight.
It is.
Hyper Bomb is the worst weapon.
It's pretty terrible.
Great start for Beef in Mega Man 2. That's the first 3 stages can be pretty scary. I don't know. After that, there's much fewer places that you can die.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Beef goes for Task Clash here.
Nah. Actually, I don't even think we'll see any actual Task Clash, probably. Like, even Zoda's probably only going to be doing Biggie Special, I would think.
Sure.
Who knows, maybe he'll pull it out there once for us, and we might see him go for it. Be pretty cool.
Man.
I don't think there's a huge difference between the two, to be honest. Maybe just a very,
probably a half second. I would guess at the very most.
Yeah, at best. So Beef utilizing that Death Warp here in Crash. We'll see another one in Woodman. But basically zipping past the checkpoint and then taking a death to respawn at that checkpoint.
I feel like Crash is like the absolute best speed stage in this game. There's just a lot of movement tech, which this game is lacking in certain stages.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever you place those item 1s, you stick to them. And so when you're placing like multiple item 1s in a row, your movement is determined by just like how quickly you can re-jump off those ones. And then when you take the item 1 over the tin can, where you're like placing one and then doing a tiny jump over it and then immediately placing another one. Like it's a lot of really fun technical movement.
So Slurpee fell and got hit by that Sniper Walker. He's going to have to be careful now because he is playing on difficult, being on Rockman 2. So this flash fight could be actually pretty scary with that amount of health. I think he can only take one hit.
I think he can take 2. It looks like he has 10 health?
8.
Is that 8?
Yep.
Oh,
there's one. He's only got 4 left. Yeah, so this is going to be really scary. Please, no. Okay, he took a bullet hit. That's good. Oh, okay. That's fine. Everything's fine.
Nice.
Everybody calm down.
Clutch.
You calm down.
I'm plenty calm.
No,
We're
you.
after midnight. I'm as calm as I'm going to get.
Yeah, Slurpee Slurpee doing a really good job there. Getting actually really lucky because the bullets only deal 2 damage, so really fortunate. So Beef grabbing that extra 1-up. He doesn't need it, but it's a good safety buffer, you know, in case you make a mistake in one of these stages, taking a death. Gives him a backup for good wood later on. Going for this first zip.
It's a solid setup there.
And we are doing this the rest of the stage in the dark. Now, Beef is a player that obviously can easily do this last zip of this stage. But do you think we're going to see it?
I feel like we are.
Like, Beef is a very, very good runner of this game, so I feel like he'd be pretty confident in doing this last zip without soft locking, but sometimes I just feel like in a longer category, it's just not worth it.
Oh man, he's going to air.
Okay, yeah. I honestly, like, for a category like this, I really do feel like this is a better option. Like, this zip, I mean, I know some runners have, you know, a little bit of pride and they want to go for the fast strats, but man, I tell you.
I would really recommend to anybody that feels comfortable in their 1-tile wiggles, which I'm sure Beef does, to leave the lights on and do this and just do the zip. Because like if you can 1-tile wiggle, you are not going to soft lock there. It won't happen. Unless your like muscles spasm and you like miss a button input or something, because it's you know, one tile wiggles can be super consistent.
You mean like me?
Yeah.
Have you seen my zips?
I have.
My mash A and wiggle strats.
They're so beautiful.
I'm a psycho.
I call that like the hyper wiggle.
Pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, but to set it up in the dark is a little bit scarier. The other thing they say is, so he switched to air there to kill the Stomper. It's actually better to just switch straight to Crash Bombs and just deboost the Stomper. Unless you're, again, worried about your health, but in normal mode, you're probably not going to take too much damage from Quick. Again, when you're a runner of Beef's caliber.
Right. Yeah, he's done the fight. He knows what he needs to do.
Like, you have a high percentage chance of the fight that Beef got, where he just jumps in the corner and stays there.
So obviously, since he's on difficult mode, Slurpee's Heatman fight is a lot longer. It's twice as long as Beef's. So more potential to lose more time. And Heatman is taking full advantage of that, giving him a lot of 60s and 90s right now.
I've not seen many 30s.
I don't think there was more than a couple. Like, that was a pretty terrible pattern also, so...
Oh, man.
Heat pulling out all the stops at causing these runners to lose time. Beef in the middle of his...
scary parts of the good wood zip there.
Yeah, that really is... As safe as it is, really, to do it when you, like, you know, get your paws in the right spot, it's still terrifying.
Yeah. There's a weird thing that can happen when you eject from the ladder, where sometimes you, like, catch a little bit before you start zipping. And so if you're doing it on just, like, a timing, where you push up and then start after a set rhythm, you'll pause way early and then have to unpause and, like, try to feel out the second one. So it can throw you, for sure, like, even if you're experienced with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Beef is just cruising through too.
Yeah, he's definitely pulling out pretty much everything. I mean, the only thing he hasn't gone for is that soft lock zip, which I don't think anybody can blame him for.
No, sir. So here comes fast air.
Yeah, seeing Slurpee go for it also. Looked like he was right on the edge of that cloud platform. That was pretty scary. And also going to be very low health now. It looks to be about the same health as... or lower health than what Beef was, so just switching back to Buster instead to kill these birds instead of deboost. It's probably a wise choice.
Definitely. And being on Rockman 2, he can't necessarily guarantee that he's going to get health in this last screen to refill himself here, because right now he can only take one hit from Airman, and that might not be enough, depending on what pattern he gets.
Right.
But in Mega Man 2 normal, you can pretty much guarantee that you'll get health drop in this screen. It's like very rare to not get one.
Yeah. Slurpee is getting a few small drops, which is going to be helpful. Because he's gonna, like he said,
So
he's
he can
probably
still
gonna have
take-
to at least take 2 hits.
Yeah, so right now he can take 2. If he gets one more small drop, he'd be able to take 3.
Looks like he hasn't, so if he can get at least 1 dodgeable pattern here, that would be really ideal. Beef, meanwhile, just taking out metal. It's got 1 stage to go. Ooh, gets an undodgeable pattern right off the bat. Oh, getting another really bad pattern. Oh, that's just some bad luck. Airman, please.
There's pretty much nothing he could have done about that. When we
Yeah.
say undodgeable, technically, like from the very strictest technical definition of it, you can dodge those patterns, but they're pretty impossible.
Yeah.
And yeah, he got 3 quote-unquote undodgeables in a row. If he had just gotten that second pattern the first time, he'd have been, well, he'd have been fine. I'm assuming he would have fought him differently at the end there.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunate.
We
So he's
saw
gonna need to pick up a 1-up somewhere.
we saw Darko last night. He did that fight, and he did a couple dodges that were just unbelievable using pause buffers. It was actually pretty cool to see. I was certain he was gonna die like 3 times in that fight.
Beefwatson is on Team A Trigger.
Yep. Safer than B trigger, but a little trickier. I always find A triggers to be a little bit trickier anyway.
Agreed.
But heading into this last screen of bubble, dodging these crabs.
We're going for Biggie here. Oh,
Oh, no luck. Slurpee waiting till he's way into the ceiling. You can actually zip a lot sooner. We saw Beef do that. Ooh, he didn't. Oh, okay. He didn't let go of the ladder. he got the jump to the top of the screen, but he never let go of the ladder. So I was like, where is he? I was like, did he die? But no, he didn't.
for that one, you can actually just hold A into the screen transition there if you do that strat. A lot of people don't know that.
Beef is into Mega Man 3. He's going top first. Seems to be a pretty common choice in this tournament, actually. I'm kind of surprised at how many people are doing it. Slurpee also has to be a little bit careful. He's on his last life at the moment, so if he can get through this stage, which he hopefully will be able to here, not too many things that can really kill him at this point. Hopefully he'll be able to grab that 1-up in quick and give himself that buffer, which he'll also need if he goes for good wood, so... So he's at the door. See if he can get the double hit on Crash. Sorry, Clash. Forgot this is Rockman 2. And Crash not really giving him a good pattern for a double, so doesn't get it, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Beef is into Mega Man 3, like we said. Mega Man 3 is the first game with the slide, so you're going to see a lot of time loss and gain can come down to the movement that a runner has. And what I mean by that is how well they can chain their slides together back to back. With really good movement, obviously, you're going to save quite a bit more time than somebody who doesn't. So, sort of it's an added thing that you have to be aware of, since in Mega Man 1 and 2, there is no slide, so there's no real movement per se, like difficulty, really. Like, a lot of it just comes to some of your jumps, but in every single game now, from this point on, slides are going to be very important. And Beef not quite able to get the 3 cycles, so he's going to have to wait for one more spin over by top to get his last hit in.
It's always really interesting to see when new runners pick up 5 or 3, whether they go with top or magnet or even Gemini.
Hmm. Yeah, like
Everybody's reasons for it differ.
it is. That's the interesting thing. Like even like I know Almond, who you and I both have got to meet it, and he's a pretty awesome guy. But he's been picking up 3 lately, and he went with Gemini because he just he didn't like the difficulty of the top strats, and I guess he didn't care for the magnet route. Slurpee, that beam was like in his face. Oh. And that one, unfortunately, is in the back of his head.
Oh, man.
So again, Slurpee's back to 0 lives, so he hopefully will know that if he still is at 0 lives when he goes to Woodman stage, because he cannot do the death warp.
Beef's proto fight is interesting in that he stands still at the right wall, I think, probably to give him a better mashing grip.
Ooh, there's the game over.
Oh, man.
Yeah, proto fights in this game are actually there's a bit of a learning curve to them. Like he's got a full 28 health, just like Mega Man, so you do have to hit him quite a lot. And so coming up with a way so you can mash while you're, either jumping behind him or, with a setup sort of like the way Fasta has, where you sort of like wait for him in the corner and try to get a lot of hits in. Either way, you have to sort of figure a grip so you can, sort of hold A and just mash B. Ooh. Slurpee having some issues setting up the zip. And he's trying to do it in the dark now, too, so he can't even see where on the ceiling he needs his item. There he goes. He's got that one.
That's interesting. He got just too far to the right, huh?
Yeah.
That live setup was so clean, too.
Beef?
It's like right up in the ceiling.
Beef is right through the hardest room of this route, so it's got to be a good feeling. And he gets Shadow down.
Nice. He learned how to fight Shadow Man. Proud of the guy.
He did. Yep.
It's actually kind of a tricky pattern to deal with without losing your topspin that he got there, because he kind of stayed right where he was, but he managed to get outside his hitbox and then turned around and attacked him.
Ooh. Slurpee tried to set up this last zip, but he unfortunately didn't get his item in the right place, so he's now just going to walk it. Electing to do air here as well, but still takes a hit on the Joe. But looks like he is going to get out of the stage. So that's...
Yeah, should be enough health here. Of the fights that are different in Rockman 2, this is one of the more important ones, in that you have exact crash ammo to take on quick.
Oh, what a great pattern!
Yeah, he's a total spaz, or can be.
That was a really good pattern.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm a few seconds behind you on Slurpee stream, but that was something.
Usually Quick will give you like a high jump and get away from you, but that was really nice. He just sort of stuck right in front of him with little hops.
Oh man, Beef's got music. Missed the proto skip there.
Yeah, so that's gonna make that last room pretty scary if he goes for the blocks, or if he just goes for a marine, it won't be so bad. But
Beef also goes with the Gemini zip skip.
So Mega Man 3 is also the first game that brought in Rush, so you're seeing him use Coil here. He's also got Marine at the moment from beating Shadow Man, and he'll get Jet from Needle, so we'll see. If he does use Marine here, we'll actually see all of them a little bit, but we'll see what he decides to do.
Collecting the health for a little bit of safety.
He's coiling up, so it looks like he's going to skip Marine. Ooh, that jump.
Yeah, he's opting for no slides here.
Yeah, this room, like I said, the lag is so weird in this. Wow.
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
What are you doing?
The heart attacks.
Wow.
The lag is bad enough in this room without the music playing that with the music it can be pretty unbearable. But wow, did Beef just like
He
somehow
dodged several bullets and explosions
dodge.
there.
Yeah, that was terrifying.
He did take that one intentional hit on the dragonfly, which I really standing on the right side of the block and letting an enemy hit you, and then just using your iframes to jump is not the worst way to go.
Right.
Ooh, definitely tried a complicated fight there, where he tried to hit, one clone and then the other, but the spacing was just a little off. Seems to have a pretty good idea of how to jump in there. Okay.
Yeah. Hardest part of this road is now done. I mean, really, those 3 stages, that's like... that's a lot of the...
Slurpee going for dog scrolls, huh?
Yeah. Let's see how he does. He overzipped. So he's gonna have to take a death.
It's interesting, because he was one tile away. He could have just jump wiggled the last one. But tried to do just a quick left-right wiggle.
Mm-hmm. Now, he does still have another life, so at least he can still go for the rest of Goodwood here. Not quite waiting long enough to get his jumps into play. There he goes.
Needle feels so much worse in the top first route than it does in the magnet route.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the same as the Gemini one, so I completely know what you're talking about. Some of these rooms, well, it's interesting because there's some of those Mets even that he killed in the previous room. Like the timing of how you fire a buster shot at them versus a magnet missile is actually different. Like,
it's true.
That was actually something I struggled with for the first bit because I was trying to fire with the timing that you would fire for a buster shot, but a buster shot actually travels a little bit faster. And so I was actually tinking magnets off of the Mets because they weren't opening yet.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of a learning curve. Like you have to, if you know one of the routes and you try to change, it can be a little bit tricky. You got to sort of adjust, make sure you're firing on the right time.
Definitely. Like even an easier strat can be harder if you're used to something else.
Yeah, for sure.
And then magnet missile on that screen opens up a whole other game where you have to be worried about drops. Whereas if you're fighting Buster and you're good about not taking damage, you don't have to concern yourself with drops for the entire screen.
Right, yeah. I mean, health drops, maybe, if you've taken a hit. But yeah, you're right. Like, ammo doesn't matter at that point.
Okay, so Slurpee does get the good whiz zip, finishes that stage off.
Slurpee's trying to do the Buster strats on these frogs. Does that mean we're going to see some item 2 zipping?
That's really the only reason to
bust. Oh my goodness. Oh, he's changing... Oh, to item 1s, okay. So, I guess we're going to see an item 2 zip. Have we seen that from anyone other than... I'm assuming Zoda went for it. I didn't get to see his race, but I'm sure he would have. This is...
Oh man, yeah, I haven't seen it, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody else had gone for it.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough zip to go for, but saves a nice little chunk of time if you can get it. Yeah, he's switching to item 2. So this could be pretty interesting. Oh no, his health is going to be an issue though now. He can only go for it once. And he doesn't get it. He's going to have to skip it.
Dang.
Oh man, this is really scary. A health drop here could be kind of nice. Frogs, please. Meanwhile, Watson able to skip over these Yoku blocks with the jet. Oh, there we go. Now we're talking. Not even on normal. Please don't jump into the spikes.
He killed enough enemies, though. He deserved that.
Yeah.
That's so many drops, though. I think like he killed a bunch of them on the same frame or something, because they all dropped the same thing.
Yeah, that could very well be.
Yeah, because the bubble fight, damageless bubble fight on Rockman 2 is not the least bit free.
Ooh, I like... Did you see that Shadow Blade? That was sick. Beef threw a Shadow Blade at Magnet while he was doing his invincible move, and then jumped over him like at the same time, so that it pulled Magnet out of his Magnet move, and it hit him. That was really interesting. I don't know if that was planned, but that was awesome.
Yeah. Slurpee gets the quick one bubble pattern there. Moving on to Mega Man 3. Since he's an older Mega Man 3 runner, are we going to see Gemini?
That's a good question. Looks like he's having trouble getting his cart to work. Oh, that intro screen there was pretty good. Oh, it's still pretty good. Oh, please, console. Please. Help us out. Dude, I didn't know the Mega Man looked through numbers. There we go.
Oh, man.
The NES is just great, isn't it? I love it. Some of the stuff you see when you're trying to get a cart to work is fantastic.
Nice modern piece of equipment.
Yep. I'm really happy that I grew up in the era of the NES for sure. I can't imagine missing out on the beauty of blowing into a cartridge.
Like that anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lack blew into his Zelda card after it froze at GDQ.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
You know, I love stuff like that because, you know, we didn't have the internet and stuff, but somehow everybody knew how to do that. Like, everybody knew to blow into the cart. It's interesting how
blowing in the carts because I don't want PLD to yell at me.
Yeah. Like, it's just, I find it really interesting that even without the internet, you know, some things still back then could go viral like that.
Yeah, that's just global, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it wasn't in Nintendo Power. Episode 13, how to blow in your Nintendo cart.
Oh, man. So, Slurpee is doing Gemini. I guess we didn't actually mention that once he started. So, it's a little bit of an older route, like Vasta mentioned, but it's still a solid route.
Yeah, I mean, Magnet, Top, Gemini are all similar enough in time that really the one you can execute the best is the one to go for.
He unfortunately didn't turn, so he got knocked into the pit.
Tough screen.
Yeah. Gemini was what I started with, actually. I started doing Gemini first, and I actually liked doing this stage first because you get this screen out of the way early. But you also get to fight Gemini with Buster, which is actually pretty fun. And that looked definitely like a music death kill. You could just see he let go of A too early. Just more leg there.
Yep, you're just used to carrying a certain distance.
Mm-hmm.
And then also keep in mind he's been used to Mega Man 1 and 2 jump physics for, 45 minutes here.
Right.
And is trying to get used to Mega Man 3 where you don't jump as high.
Yeah, and you don't hang for as high either. You sort of only hang for a couple frames in 3, and then you start to fall.
Scaring me, Slurpee.
Yeah. Please make it. Alright. Skipping the E-Tank. Still got 2 lives, though. So we'll see what kind of Gemini fight he can come up with here. If he goes for the wiggle mash, it's a pretty awesome fight, actually. So we'll see if he goes for it.
Yeah, hoping to see it.
Oh, he's going for it. He's getting a few too many shots fired in one direction, and that's not allowing him to get multiple hits in, but he... Okay, yeah, well, that'll happen. I usually try to follow Gemini when he starts that cycle because it's easier to sort of time your slide under him. Staying in the middle is a little bit scarier. See how... Ooh, this is a much better version of that Buster fight, so seeing that really well executed. And that fight is just awesome. I really like to do that fight. It's super fun.
You can just see how quick that first phase goes when you get it right.
Yeah. The reason that works is because when you hit Gemini, one of the clones of Gemini, the other one, if it has iframes, the iframes instantly drop. So you can only have one of them in iframes, basically. So if you can fire back and forth really fast between the two, you essentially can mash through the first half of his phase incredibly quick, as you saw him do there. Same idea works with the other routes using Shadow Blade, but for whatever reason, I just think that the Buster fight just looks a lot better.
And the other thing is with the first phase, he fires when you fire. So like the faster you can push the B button, the more you'll keep him on the ground shooting at you.
Right.
And so if you can keep him on the ground, you keep him in range, but both of them in range of your Buster shots.
Mm-hmm. So Beef is through Snake. He's only got 1 stage left in 3 before he's off to 4, so still a pretty strong advantage here.
I'm trying to think, has Beef taken an unintentional death?
I don't think he did in 2 for sure. I'm trying to think if he did in 1. I don't think so.
I don't think I've seen one.
No, I think it's just the 2 in Mega Man 2 that were planned. So he's having a good run right now.
Yeah, this has been impressive.
Yeah, it is not easy to do this category deathless. Like not even just because it's a 2-hour run typically, or around a 2-hour run, but just the fact that you're dealing with so many different kinds of physics is typically a pretty difficult thing to have to adjust to on the fly.
Definitely.
So Beef is taking a lot of hits here though, so he's electing to kill the Dozer. Ends up being a good idea. He gets a little too much refill, but he has a lot of magnet now.
And you can kill all these junk blocks, reduce even more lag.
Mm-hmm.
So typically you kill the middle one here to reduce lag, although that doesn't reduce much lag the way he did it.
No. Might have created a little more, actually.
In theory, though, if you get a bunch of magnet drops, you actually should kill both the first and the second block.
Right. So Beef uses that E-Tank to guarantee that he has enough health for the fight, and he hits the door. Very nice. Gets through the hold right room. Ooh, Slurpee going for that little cool kid deboost actually on the Sniper Joe, but doesn't quite get there fast enough.
Requires some tight movement. The easy part is actually taking the deboost off the hammer. The hard part is getting the jump to the ladder over the second hammer that he throws.
Right, before getting hit by it again.
Yeah, because a lot of times you'll jump and bonk your head on the ceiling and grab the ladder too low, even if your movement's good. And then, then the hammer ball hits you on the way up. But yeah, moving on to 4.
It's also...
I can't tell you...
Oh,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I can't tell you how many deathless runs through 3 I've had take their first death in 4. This game is ridiculously hard.
Oh, Slurpee accidentally walking off that elevator. It's not a terrible death in comparison to some of the other ones, but you'll have to replay this falling block room. I was going to say, so Slurpee's coming into the Sparkman fight. He doesn't have Spark's weakness, but he has a soft weakness for Spark, which is Needle Cannon. So you're going to see him fight him with Needle. It does 2 damage every hit. Hopefully he gets a decent pattern from Spark here. Spark can kind of sometimes be a jerk and jump to locations you don't really want him to be. Like there.
A really interesting fight with Needle.
And there again. Thanks, Spark. That pattern probably wouldn't have been so bad, but he stayed on the left side of him, unfortunately, so not a whole lot you can do to try to get to the middle with that pattern.
Yeah, pretty awkward fight. So Beef going with Bright first, which I think we've seen a lot of new runners to 46 decide to pick up.
Yeah, it's a good choice.
And for good reason. So instead of doing the hold right strat, he's jumping, but he did make sure that he jumped up and around the one that you would walk onto.
Mm-hmm.
which is good because then you don't clip it on the way up. That's a really common death I've seen in 46. A lot of people take.
I felt a little bit vindicated in Mega Man 4. Yesterday, Primal had his third race, and earlier in that day before his race, he started practicing this route, basically.
Yeah.
Well, he did Pharaoh first, but basically the same idea, because he used to do Bright 7th. Ooh.
Beef! So as as is the standard, Mega Man 4 is just the destroyer.
Yeah. But
I
so
definitely
he...
feel like we need a tally of all the deaths that each game has brought.
I don't think
Sorry,
I want
go
to
ahead.
see that. No, but it was interesting because he hadn't tried that route really before, so he was messing around with it. And his second attempt, he was like 4 seconds slower than his best time with his other route. So it just shows you like with the newer strats, like even not being able to execute them like quite very well yet, he was still almost just as fast as his best time. So I'm hoping
That's cool
I'm
to
hoping I
see.
may have converted him to the new route. We'll see. Beef gets his bright kill.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like a really talented runner like Primal when you take so much time away and come back. There's so much new to discover in a game.
Yeah.
A lot of time will have been taken off the game just from new discoveries.
Yeah, we actually have, like, other than Primal, Kazes is really the only other guy in this tournament now. He's joined in, that would have, some older strats, probably, for some of the games. Which is pretty cool. We've got a couple, sort of the older, more well-established community members in this tournament as well, which is awesome. So one really big advantage of going bright first is it makes that jump to the balloon a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, we got bees. We got bees.
Not the bees.
Not the bees.
Best part about FasterNet is trying to get the streams to load again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet that's probably a pain. Oh man, did we get FasterNet? So I should point out, Feasel did add... Okay, he hasn't added all of them yet. He did add a couple emotes, though. He added us...
What do we got?
Oh. Mega Man 5 references in here, and apparently Chell Drill is in here. I didn't actually know that one was in here.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so be sure
Get some
to
use out of that one.
mock me with the Drillman emotes when we get to Drillman. That's interesting, because I didn't see anybody actually... We actually asked the people in the tournament which ones they thought would be the best ones to add, and I didn't actually see anybody say that one, so that's interesting.
Shell Drill is definitely a good one. Because no matter what, you're probably going to see at least one die.
Yeah. I actually considered resubmitting some of those emotes to make them maybe more stream friendly if other people wanted to use them, like by renaming them, but we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, gotcha. Like
That seems to be-
sucks.
Yeah, exactly. Since that's what everybody says anyway.
Yeah.
So Pharaoh's down. And Slurpee fighting Hardman. He doesn't quite have enough ammo to finish him off, so he's gonna have to switch to Buster here. But gets his kill.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hardman only takes 1 damage from everything that's not Magnet Missile or Hard Knuckle.
Oh, okay. I see. Oh my goodness, tag, please. Ho ho no. Alright, so now we're going to start seeing the balloon a little bit. Balloon is not a huge time saver in just 8 robots, but it does save you about 10 seconds, although unfortunately Beef taking a bonk off this Saturn and falling back down here, that's going to actually cost him quite a bit because screen transitions in 4 are actually kind of slow, just like 6 as well. So falling there kind of costs you a bit of time, but still seeing some of that balloon usage is pretty cool. I think the balloon is one of the most fun weapons to use in 4.
Sure is. The stages or the sections that rely on heavy balloon usage are very fun to play. Skull comes to mind, and this ring climb is fun, even though it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, and Ringman stage is kind of a scary stage, especially for people who are sort of new to the game, because you usually get through this stage with very little health. There's so many mini bosses that it's kind of hard to get through it without deboosting. Beef actually taking an alternative way to kill this ring mini boss, freezing him in place while he's open. That way he doesn't have to time his shot. It's a very good strat to use when you're trying to do the no damage runs. Ooh, taking a hit there, unfortunately, and falling into the pit. So, I guess the only real benefit to taking a Death and Ring stage, which I say is kind of a minor benefit, but is the fact that you get your health back, and that allows you to have more of it for the actual fight.
Definitely a scary screen.
Yeah. Slurpee into the snake fight. And he gets his kill. So Beef is on his last life here, so hopefully he doesn't play it too risky. We want to see him get through this. He looked like he wanted to do the double hit there. Ooh, he's got to be a little bit careful. And Ring just plows right through him.
Oh man.
We've seen this. I mean,
4, ladies and gentlemen.
This is a pretty common thing we've seen, honestly, in the tournament. Like, Ringman has been a big roadblock for a lot of people. You know, we've seen lots of game overs here, lots of deaths, especially in the boss fight. So this is, you know, this is something we're sort of expecting to happen. Hoping it never happens, but, you know, you kind of expect it at some point because the bosses in Mega Man 4 deal so much damage with their bodies, with contact damage. So you really want to try to avoid that. At, you know, worst case scenario, if you are going to take a hit, you really want to try to plan accordingly and take a projectile hit as opposed to a body hit. Slurpee getting a little mini miss with that laser and having to wait for it to bounce around the room until it hits a yarn ball.
I'm glad Gemini Cats is not a thing I ever had to deal with.
It's not so bad. Actually, it's kind of consistent. Like, you can get one jump with like 3 lasers and then one more jump with 2 and land on the ledge. It's a little tricky, but I've done it a few times.
Yeah, I think that was the strat I used to go for, and then swore off of, and then went for, and then swore off of.
Yeah, it is pretty frustrating because if you do miss it, you usually get what happened to Slurpee there. You get one to bounce around. Ooh, Beef's health is pretty low. He's got to get through this room too to get the checkpoint, so hopefully he'll just freeze this boss and just kill him instead of deboosting through. Good strat. Seeing another little weird instance of the bosses here. He got a 1-up drop from one of those missiles, but because he killed the hippo, it despawned. So it's kind of an interesting thing when you kill enemies or kill the missiles. If you kill the hippo before actually collecting the item, it'll disappear on you. Slurpee also took a death on top, so both runners sort of having a couple hiccups here in their respective games.
This is really the first major roadblock that Beef has run into in this run.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, he's waiting for those rings to despawn. That's a very smart way to get through that guy when you're low health, so... Really good idea there from Beef.
When you're up against the wall, his rings can still hit you, correct?
They can, yes, on that one. So if he opens wide, you still have to sort of jump. And I think that was an intentional death. Beef didn't even bother to menu, so I'm pretty sure that one was intentional. He just wants to get his health back.
I love the strategic deaths.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just chain buffering.
No worries, no worries. Beef gets his kill on ring, so that's 3 robots down. And Slurpee, meanwhile, into the dark room. That's your favorite room, right? Of Shadow Man.
Love it. Love it. Such technical movement.
Yeah. And Slurpee will actually have Magnet Missile, obviously, since this is his last stage, for the Parasue screen. So you're going to see a lot easier strats of killing those Parasues and going through this last room as opposed to what Beef had to do with only having top. It's one of the big benefits of the Gemini and Magnet First routes. Makes this room just a ton easier. You have to watch for drops, but Slurpee gets some pretty good luck there.
I'm probably just going to drop out and try to watch in chat because I'm
Okay.
not of any use right now.
No worries. Appreciate the help that you were able to give, though.
Hey, Johnny. Yeah, my internet held on for like a half hour.
Yeah. So both runners are now into Mega Man 4. Slurpee able to pick up some time, it looks like, maybe on Beef. If he can get through Ringman stage without any deaths, it'll be, hopefully for him, a little bit of a comeback here. Pharaoh first is what Slurpee's going to go with here. The time difference between these two routes that you saw them do, where Beef did Bright first, is about 2 to 3 seconds, so it's not very big, but if Slurpee can execute the Bright fight with Pharaoh correctly, it would save him a bit of time. He is struggling with this first couple screens of Pharaoh, though, so I don't know if he's going to actually get any of that time save or not. We'll see. Meanwhile, Beef getting through Dust here, looking pretty good. Ooh, does get hit by the Stomper, so he only has enough health to deboost 1 time off of Dust's body. You can usually, if Dust gives you a suck pattern, you can slide into him to sort of pull him out of that pattern, and it will allow you to get a hit in quickly. But Beef, again, it requires you to have health, and now that he's been hit by the shot a couple times, he doesn't have enough health to do that now and takes the death. I think he's got enough ring to still do this fight over, so even with that death, he should still be okay. I think he's got 7 or 8 there. Dust shot's actually pretty easy to dodge if you know how. If you just jump straight up, you'll dodge it, because the shots always break apart in 4 directions, like an X. So Beef has run out of rings, so he's gonna have to finish off Dust now with Buster. This can be kind of an annoying fight to do if he starts to suck a lot, but looks like he'll be okay here. Dust goes down. So again, Beef is gonna have to be careful, because I think now he's on his last life again, unless he's picked up a 1-up somewhere. And Slurpee finishes off Pharaoh, so he's now 1 robot in. Both 3 stages back at the moment. But Beef also has the harder stages out of the way. Dust is the hardest stage for sure. Not only in 8 robots, but also in the entire game. So getting through that one now is a little bit of a relief for him. He can focus on the upcoming stages. I always find that the first 4 stages of Mega Man 4 are like the toughest to get through, but once you get through them, Skull and Dive and Drill and Toad are a little bit more of a... not easy necessarily, but they're a little more relaxing compared to the first 4. And we're not even going to see balloon strats from Beef here, that's fine. Switching right to Flash Stopper is still pretty acceptably fast, so... Slurpee getting some pretty good luck from those grasshoppers, getting some large jumps. Eddie giving Beef a 1-up. That's actually really helpful. Like I said, he could have been on his last life there, so that guarantees now that he's not. So Beef has to be feeling pretty good about having that safety buffer again. Ooh, kind of a tight jump there, but Beef just makes it. There is a couple tight jumps at Skull. That one there, and then this one right here as well. And Beef gets it as well, so really good. So into the Skull fight. He has that 1 life now as a backup. And Slurpee coming into the last hallway of Brightman stage. Again with these tricky platforms. Gets the hard jump. Ooh, I think you're going to see a second shield here. Yep. But Beef does get the kill. Oh, Slurpee. So unfortunately, Slurpee didn't throw his Pharaoh shot upward to kill that light bulb. That's about a 45-second death, too. It's actually one of the worst deaths in 8 robots, so it's really unfortunate. Now he's electing to go through the stage. Charging a Buster Shot here, that's actually not a good idea. You don't want to be charging when you don't need to be charging in Mega Man 4, because you generally generate more lag by charging the Buster. So you'll actually see runners try not to charge usually to save lag frames. So Beef is into Dive. Something he has to be careful of is while he's underwater, he can't jump out of his slide, similar to Mega Man 6. So he has to make sure he has to cancel his slide before he jumps. Actually got a very nice deboost off that fish to skip that Met. We call that the Almond deboost. Almond City sort of patented that one. It's a very nice strat. So Slurpee gets to the door this time. See if he can get a good double hit fight. Ooh, he's going to get a flash here because he didn't do the HP values. Brightman will only freeze Mega Man on very, very specific HP intervals. 16, 8, and 4 health remaining. And Slurpee did 4 charge shots at the beginning of that fight, putting him at that 16 HP value, and that's why he got the flash. Beefy mashing into that whale very nicely, actually. Those whales have 14 health, so they do take a lot of shots. Freezing them lower can sometimes make it easier if you're going the mash approach way. We do see some people try to freeze them higher, and that allows you to just hold a full jump and try to mash. But if you don't get it in one jump, then it's typically slower to do that than to freeze it lower like Beef did. Ooh, and another strategic death here. So Beef is again going to be on his last life, but just sort of electing to take the death and respawn with full health to make the fight a little bit safer. The Dive Man fight seems a little bit scary, but there's actually 0 RNG in this fight as well. It's 100% the same every time, so getting used to how he moves and what he does based off of what you do is really all there is to it. So only a couple stages left for Beef in this game. He's got to be feeling pretty good about almost getting out of this game, like Fasta had mentioned earlier. Mega Man 4 is a pretty tough game. Very hard on new runners due to just how difficult the bosses can be. Ooh, Slurpee looking like he's in a little bit of trouble health-wise. Does get a little refill there, which is good. Means he can do a back D-boost on the ring mini-boss that's going to be coming up. Gets another one. We'll see what he decides to do here. He can't slide into the body of this ring boss because that'll do 8 damage and it will kill him. So he's got to have to back D-boost right there. Again, seeing Beef just using Flash Stopper in a lot of these screens to manipulate keeping those enemies frozen in place makes these screens a lot less difficult. Ooh, Slurpee trying to play that fight a little bit safe, but gets sniped, unfortunately, by our ring. He's gonna have to try again. Beef grabbing the E-Tank. I feel like the only place he would maybe use that E-Tank would be in this stage, so we'll see if he uses it here. Getting another lucky 1-up drop as well, so again, he should be safe now. And ring is down for Slurpee. So getting that sort of more difficult boss fight out of the way. Beef using Skull Strats here because he's out of Flash Stopper. Makes the rest of that room pretty easy. Yeah, he's gonna go right to the E-Tank here, so it's probably a good idea. Makes this fight hopefully a little bit safer. Getting a good pattern from Drill off the start. Ooh, almost a really, really great pattern there. He's gonna have to get 2 more hits in on Drill before he'll die. And there it is. So decent fight actually. 1 extra dive is not that bad. Loses him a little over 4 seconds. Ooh, Slurpee getting sort of stuck underneath these blocks. He's gonna have to be careful. Okay. This is the laggiest room in the game, this one that Slurpee's in right now, so you have to be kind of careful of your jumps. Make sure that you don't accidentally let go of A too early and then cut a jump short. Meanwhile, Beef off to the last stage of 4, Toadman stage. Toad is not that difficult of a boss, as everybody knows, but his stage is actually a little bit tricky. Beef is going to have to be a little bit careful here. As you can see, there's the rain in this stage. The rain will push him backward when he jumps, so he has to make sure his jumps are a little bit more precise than normal to make sure he can make them. And looks like he does them very nicely. The other mechanic in this stage are the waterfalls, and you'll see that in this room he's falling into now. They sort of pull Mega Man, sort of increase his speed. And right there is a good example of why they're a little bit tricky. They can pull you off a ledge a little bit faster than you're expecting them to, and pull you right into a pit. So Beef, unfortunately, taking a death there. That's actually one of the things that I try to warn new runners about, actually, is because Toad is such an easy boss, a lot of people just sort of write this stage off and don't practice it as much. But this stage itself is actually pretty tricky, so I always recommend people like put more time into Toad stage than you think, because it's not as easy as you might think. So Slurpee is done with dust. Out of the hardest stage. Again, freezing these snail mini-bosses allows you to completely skip them without fighting them. It's a big time save in this stage. It's why we always come to this stage after getting Flash Stopper. So we don't even have to fight them. Ooh, Beef jumping a little early there. That's really unfortunate. So Beef is out of Flash, so that means he's gonna have to fight this snail. There's a few different weapon choices you can use for this. Looks like he's just gonna Buster him. Flash Stopper obviously allows you to skip, but you don't have that anymore, so Pharaoh Shot is actually a pretty good weapon here, and I've seen other runners use Ring as well, but typically Buster or Pharaoh Shot is what most people are probably going to use here. So this is obviously why we use Flash Stopper to skip these bosses, because as you can see, they've got a lot of health, and they can't be hit at certain intervals, so it makes them pretty annoying. Alright, playing that jump a little bit safe this time, making sure he makes it. And over the last bit of spikes, so he's into the boss fight. Should be home free now and out of Mega Man 4, because like I said, Toad, as everybody knows, is a pretty easy boss. And with full health, I can't see how he could even possibly die, since he has the weakness. So yeah, I might, we'll see how the rest of this goes for Slurpee, but it definitely looks like he may have gained some ground here on Beef in that game. So off the Starman stage. Starman, the route in Mega Man 5 is pretty much set. You can't really break it because you need to go to Star to get the Super Arrow. Super Arrow makes this game a lot faster. You're going to be able to climb vertically very fast, using it sort of like the Item 1 or the balloon. And you'll also be able to ride it like the Item 2 in Mega Man 2, so going horizontally fast as well. So there's really no disadvantage to getting this arrow early. It's just the best weapon for the speed game, for the speed run itself. Beef has to be a little bit careful as well because the very first stage of Star here has that low gravity, so sometimes it's really easy to accidentally jump a little too high into some of these spikes. So he has to sort of focus and make sure he doesn't do that. Slurpee freezing that whale, just barely making it across that pit actually. He cut his jump a little short and almost didn't make it. So this star fight's not too terrible. As you can see, you can actually shoot right through Starman's shield if you're close enough to him. So you saw Beef do that once. He'll probably try to do it a few more times. It's kind of a nice... if you couldn't shoot through Starman's shield, I feel like Wave First might actually be a thing. But since we can, this fight is actually pretty fast. Slurpee's health is looking really scary here. He's got an E-Tank. He's not going to use it? No, he's not. He should be able to slide over that enemy as well, but he's going to jump him. Oh, and he doesn't use it, and he takes a death. I think I would have used the E-Tank there. That would have been... Oh, and it was a game over, too. That's punishing. I see that too much, honestly, in the... in Mega Man runs. Like, people will go out of their way to get E-Tanks and then just never use them. Like, you gotta be, you know, thinking about, you know, sometimes you just gotta use them, even if you feel like you don't want to. I mean, the whole reason you get them is to use them, so... So Slurpee will have to start this stage again from scratch. Meanwhile, Beef is now into gravity. One of the cooler stages actually in Mega Man 5, because you have these little gravity flippers and you see him like sliding on the ceiling there. It's kind of a cool mechanic for the game. And again, showing off now why we get Super Arrow first. You just can do screens like this one here where you fly over basically the entire screen. It's just a huge advantage. So Slurpee back into this room again. Sort of waiting out this spike room here a little bit. And Beef into the Gravity Man fight. This fight is exactly the same every time, so as long as you memorize Gravity's pattern, you shouldn't have any problems. And we are going to see Slurpee fight Dive with Dust. Technically, Dust is not Dive's weakness, but it's a soft weakness. It deals 3 damage to him, so even though it doesn't deal the max 4, it's a little bit slower, but this fight is actually still pretty quick, actually, so. Although he is trying to play it a little bit safer to stay away from Dive, so. Ooh, he's got a missile on screen. He's gonna have to. Okay, so again, another time where he probably could have E-tanked there to save his life, but Slurpee really does not want to use those, so he's just going for it all. He's got 2 of them now, too, so. Again, showing why body contact is so dangerous in this game, as he's taking 8 damage every time, but that time he gets him. Meanwhile, Beef is into Gyro stage. There's not a whole lot going on in Gyro. You have a couple of little auto-scroller elevators, but a lot of these screens are just, you know, use the arrow for the first sort of half of the stage, and then try your best to just slide through the rooms as quick as possible when you don't have arrow. You also notice that, you know, Mega Man 5 has all these letters. Those are the letters you need to collect to get beat, so like that K right there. But since beat isn't really useful in the 8 robots alone, it's more for like Wily Capsule and stuff. We don't see the runners collect the letters in this one. Slurpee making his way through Drill Man. Drill stage is a little bit tricky because the checkpoint is pretty far in. It's actually this screen right here that he's coming into here with the E-Tank. So taking a death before this room is actually pretty bad, especially if you die in that triple turret room. But Slurpee gets through it, thankfully, and doesn't have to worry about that. Beef, meanwhile, takes out Gyro, so he'll be off to Crystal stage. We'll see if he goes for the Crystal Warp. I'm sure he probably will. We've seen pretty much everybody going for that strat. See what kind of pattern Drill Man gives Slurpee. Getting a pretty okay one. He's got a good pattern. This is actually a good enough pattern. He probably could get a kill if he executes it correctly, but he is getting a dive here, so. Ooh, and a second one. So that dive actually was on Slurpee. You should be able to get 2 hits before Dive Man goes underneath, so should have only got 1 dive there, but unfortunately gets a second one. And Beef gets the setup for the Crystal Warp, so now he's just going to have to sit here for about another 40 seconds or so, and then some magic happens in the game code, and he'll end up at the boss corridor. I'm not sure exactly what all the ins and outs is of this trick, but essentially what it is Mega Man dies on the frame that you see that little second enemy on the right spawn. And normally as they spawn, the next frame they have that little ball appear above their head. But since Mega Man dies on the frame that ball is supposed to appear, the sprites from Mega Man's death take up the sort of memory location that ball that's going to spawn is supposed to take. And for whatever reason, when that happens, it sends Mega Man all the way to the checkpoint thing. It's sort of a weird sort of glitch thing. But it saves about, using the arrow setup that he did, it saves about 9 seconds. Instead of actually playing the stage, so it's kind of interesting little skip. Slurpee coming into this last snail room. So he's almost out of Mega Man 4. Something to note here, you actually see Slurpee. You can't actually mash enemies in 5 because the developers gave every single enemy in 5 invincibility frames. They have 8 frames worth of invincibility. So when you shoot them, you still have to wait a little bit before you can shoot them again. So mashing really doesn't help you out. It's more about timing shots to kill enemies. That's actually why the Charge Buster all of a sudden becomes more useful, because enemies that have like 2 or 3 HP, the Charge Buster will like pierce through it and hit enemies also behind it as it keeps going. So Mega Man 5 also, when you take damage while charging, you lose your charge. So it's another thing the runners have to be careful of, is if they would need to use a charge shot, dodging is pretty important, or they won't be able to utilize that charge that they're trying to build up. Again, Slurpee's now into Mega Man 5, dealing with that same low gravity physics we saw Beef handle earlier. Be interesting to see what happens between these last 2 games. I know Slurpee is not overly familiar with Mega Man 5, but Slurpee actually does have a pretty acceptable time in Mega Man 6 already, so that'll be, I'm expecting a game that he picks up some time on Beef in, so depending on how Beef's 5 and 6 go, we may see a closer race near the end. But Napalm is down, so he's got a pretty solid, little over a 4-stage lead here on Slurpee at the moment, which is definitely probably something he's gonna want to carry over into 6 with. So Slurpee's struggling here, as you can see, taking damage and losing the charge. Dodging star is really important so you can get these hits in. Releasing some of these charge shots just a little early, but star does go down. Beef being a little careful around the Mets. These Mets in Mega Man 5 don't just die instantly like a lot of other Mets in the Mega Man franchise. They break apart into 3 little tiny Mets. and they can be kind of awkward to kill and go through fast. Sometimes you have to slow down to kill them, or just take the D-boost. Or as you saw Beef try to do, just try to jump over most of them. Stone stage is actually pretty long. There's a lot of really short screens and then some longer ones here. So now that he's getting to some of these longer ones, you're going to see him pull out the super arrow here and try to fly over a lot of the enemies. I think that's high enough. Yeah, he's fine. As you can see, just super arrow making that screen a lot faster, flying over so many enemies that would be in your way that would just really slow you down. Ooh, Beef taking a bonk. So that's kind of an unfortunate one too, because now he's going to go back to the beginning of this really long screen you saw him just arrow over top of. So now he's going with a backup strat. He's going to use gravity hold. It's actually a very good choice as a backup. There's so many enemies here to have to avoid, so gravity makes these enemies a little bit easier to deal with. Is still taking a few hits, but hopefully he can get through this here. If he can get to the Stone Man fight, he should be home free, because Stone Man is one of the easier boss fights. If you get close to him, he'll just jump and makes the fight pretty easy. Ooh, Slurpee didn't realize, I think, or didn't realize maybe that his health was low, or didn't realize that he was too close to the center there. So taking a death to gravity right near the end of the fight, it's kind of an unfortunate one there. Like I said before when Beef was fighting him, gravity is 100% of the time the exact same fight. There's nothing different about it. And again, Slurpee taking another hit there. Doesn't have any M-Tank or anything, so he's going to have to finish the fight off with Buster. Pretty easy fight to finish off with Buster, though. And here we're seeing Stone Man just getting really jumpy. And that's what I was talking about. Just staying close to him to manipulate the jumps. So, only 2 stages left for Mega Man 5 for Beef. Slurpee... I'm wondering if he maybe forgot where he was supposed to go next, because he sort of waited on that stage select a little long. Or maybe got distracted in real life, I'm not sure. It might be his hair cut off, CC. In order for me to make these game feeds fit this screen, I had to slightly cut off the left and right edge, so it just might be cut off. Charge's stage is actually, I think, the most fun stage in Mega Man 5. These train screens are pretty fun, and you got the checkpoint room with the chickens. That is really fun to play. So we'll see how Beef does that right now. Not sure if he dedicated this chicken room to anybody, but getting a nice 1-up there. Mega Man 5 is pretty notorious, as most people know, for 1-up drops. Although, to be honest, I haven't seen very many in these 2 runs so far, which is kind of unusual. So into the Charge Man fight, you have to fight Charge Man, unfortunately, with his weakness to go fast, and that's Power Stone. And as most people know, Power Stone's not the greatest weapon. You actually see Beef here pausing. That's on purpose so that he can get Power Stone off the screen and fire again faster. Because charges iframes will wear off before the stone gets off screen, so it means you can't fire again until that happens. So you see, that's why he pauses there. Oh, really unlucky. Right at the end of the fight, taking that death. So he's going to have to do this fight over. Charge Man being a bit of a jerk. And yeah, this weapon is kind of awkward to use. Once you get used to it, it's not too bad, but typically you want to stay pretty close to charge because the stones will sort of go out from your position, as you can see. So if you stay close enough to charge, usually one of the first few rocks that leaves you can hit his hitbox. But charge also goes invulnerable, as you can see, a few different ways. When he charges at you and when he does this little heat shot that goes up into the air. So, but Beef gets it on the second try. A little bit scary again. Ooh, Slurpee's a little too high. Too high on the arrow. He's not going to get the Crystal Warp. He's going to have to try again. Oh, he doesn't have another life to try again. So now his options are to either game over or to play the stage. And it looks like he's electing to game... Oh, I don't know what he's doing, actually. Farming, I guess. I don't know if he noticed that he's out of lives, though. Like, he needs a 1-up. So not only would he need, like, arrow ammo, but he would also need to get a 1-up drop. Now he's just going to take the game over. That's probably a better option. The legendary, almost never seen game over screen of Mega Man 5. So Slurpee's gonna have another try at it here. Meanwhile, Beef riding the bubbles up. No bubble skip here. That's a much better one there from Slurpee. Gets it on the second go. So Beef is into the auto-scrollers now of Wave. It's sort of like the last sort of thing you gotta deal with here. There's a couple of them and a mini-boss, so... he doesn't want to take too much damage here because Waveman is weak to Charge Kick, which is kind of hard to use on him without taking a little bit of damage. So the more health he has, the better, because it'll just make the boss fight a little bit safer. Slurpee should be respawning here. Okay, there it is. His second half of the auto-scroller has a lot of these jumping fish that can be kind of tricky to shoot down, but Beef is handling it fairly well. He is taking a little bit of damage here, but he should hopefully be okay. He did also pick up that E-Tank in Napalm. I don't know if he actually used it, although he just got that health there, so he shouldn't need it anymore. He should be perfectly fine. Maybe Conster. It's very deceiving sometimes because Waveman is a very long stage, so it may appear like he's caught up a bit, but it's just because I think this stage is pretty long. And Wave is down, so Beef is off to his final game, Mega Man 6. Ooh, Slurpee. Not expecting, I think, that drill enemy to respawn. And those are insta-kills, so... Doesn't quite make it to that screen transition and takes the death. Yeah, Beef is off in Mega Man 6. We start in Wind, because Wind is a fairly easy buster fight. And, it's the weakness for Flame Man, which is a weapon you want to get pretty early on. Flame's weapon does a lot of damage to enemies.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Joka.
Hi.
Cool. I got another person in here. It's going alright.
Beef is winning.
He is, yes. He's just entered Mega Man 6. And Slurpee's about halfway through 5 at the moment.
I know Slurpee used to run 6. I don't know about Beef, so might be able to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, I think he will. Slurpee's got a fairly decent time in 6. Beef, I don't think knew 6 until starting to learn it for this tournament, so... And we already saw a death there. Really, really fast death. It's in the checkpoint room. Those deaths in Mega Man 6 are really short. Like, you respawn really fast, so... That's not a really big time loss. Maybe only about 6 or 7 seconds. Slurpee having a duel with this enemy from across the room here. Health is a little low, so hopefully he can fight Napalm without too much trouble. We'll see how it goes. And meanwhile, Beef hitting the door for Windman here. Ooh, getting a missed shot with Crystal Eyes, so sort of seeing the same idea of like Gemini Laser. It sort of breaks apart and bounces around the room. But Napalm, he runs out of ammo. He's got to change back to Buster here to get his kill. And Beef is done with Wind, so 7 robots to go for Beef.
39 down, 7 to go.
Yeah, it's always a good feeling when it's like, okay, last game, here we go. Like,
Yeah.
Beef is heading now into Flame. This is by far the best speed stage, I think, in Mega Man 6.
Flame, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Like, the sliding and the bustering of the enemies in this stage just feels so good, mixed with the cancels and everything. Like, I don't know, it's a really well-designed stage. You do get some of that same feeling from some of the other stages in 6, but I just feel like Flame stage almost feels like that for the entire stage. Like, I don't know, it's so fun.
There's a few parts here where you have to like stop and wait for these platforms to land in the water or oil or whatever.
Ooh, Slurpee puts his arrow a little bit too high there and pushes him off the arrow. Beef did have that one fire pit light, so that means that there's going to be one here in the next room that's also going to be lit, because some of the oil pits are actually tied together from the first screens into some of these other screens. So there'll be one coming up actually next where you'll see it's actually already lit on fire right here. Those oil pits, once they're lit, they do become insta-kills when they're flames. And they also persist until somebody either game overs or beats the stage. So if Beef takes a death and respawns, those pits will still be on fire. So it's kind of like a little bit of a punishment for taking deaths.
Beef fell down in the pit of reset there for a moment, but got lucky and got out in time.
Yeah.
running low on arrows.
Oh, he didn't know it either, I think. He went for the triple arrow and didn't have any.
Yeah, this screen takes really long to just go through normally.
Yeah, he had a really nice jump under that one telly there. That was really close. Health is going to be... Okay, he's going to try to farm some health here. He gets a couple 1-ups. Thanks, Mega Man 5.
Of course.
Yep, that's pretty standard.
More 1-ups than life.
Yeah. Ooh, gets a little drop there. That was actually kind of scary. If that had eaten part of his jump, that could have been really scary, but catches it just in time.
Okay.
Into this last room is Stone. Pushing through. If he can get to the boss door, that's all he really needs to do, because, like I said, this boss is pretty easy.
Yeah, and plus he has like 1,000,000 extra life.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so he's at the door.
You can
Meanwhile,
definitely see that it takes a while to get used to Mega Man after play.
yeah. Ooh. Stone giving Slurpee some shorter jumps there. It almost looked like it caught him off guard, but there's the kill with that 1 HP, so thankfully Stone is one of the easier fights. Beef actually doing pretty well in 6. Like, I don't know how much time he's been able to practice these other games that he's not overly familiar with, but you can definitely tell he's put some time into this game, because he's gotten some pretty decent, safer speed strats down throughout Blizzard and stuff, so really nice so far.
No bomb skips.
Nope. And into the door safely. We actually have seen 2 bomb skips, or three attempts at bomb skip, but we've only seen 1 actual successful one, I think. Darko was crazy and went for it in 2 different races. And I think Terex went for it once.
Slurp used 3 arrows on the first screen and therefore ran out, so
Yeah.
he has to do this part.
He is through it though, making his way now through the chicken room.
The chicken room is really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like this room. I'm not typically known for liking a lot of things that are in Mega Man 5, but this is one room I really like.
It kind of tests your patience. You can't just jump up to the chickens and mash and
Right.
expect them to die.
Yep.
So you have to pace yourself. He's running kind of low on health, and Chargeman is definitely not one of the bosses you want to be low on health on.
Yeah. He does have, like you said, he's got all those 1-ups, so hopefully he'll maybe take some time. Ooh, he's menuing to gyro here. Oh, and takes the death. That's kind of an unusual menu choice. I'm not sure if he thought he didn't have enough crystal to kill that enemy, which he actually did. So now he's got to do the chicken room again, and this time without crystal eyes, so it's a little bit more frustrating to do.
Yeah, I think Gyro or Napalm Bomb is a better choice than Buster here in this situation.
Yeah, like being on the same floor level as those mice, you can't hit them with a lemon, so the developers really made them to be a frustrating enemy, putting them in here with the chickens. Like, I feel like the chickens in this room are really just there to take your charge shot away. Like, more than anything else.
Okay, let's see if Beef goes for Fire Strat now. Nope, just
Nope.
as I said, it switches.
Yeah, we definitely haven't seen too many people go for plant forms. I've seen it a few times, but most of the runners going with the safer strats of opening the platforms, and that's pretty wise choice. Plant stage is not one you want to have to stay in for a long time. Focusing on just getting through it is sometimes just a much better option. So many little enemies around these springs with the fish and the beetles and the turrets. And Beef gets over and through it.
It's very slow there.
Yeah. Yeah. Taking an extra second to sort of get himself set up.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to die there. The checkpoint is really far back in plants.
Yeah. I think a lot of people struggle with those springs too at first because they think they're like the music blocks in Super Mario Bros. 3. But they're actually...
Yeah, I definitely did that.
Yeah, I did as well. But you actually don't have to time an A input. You just hold A and you'll jump high off those springs. So it's actually a lot easier than you sort of first think.
And it's really weird too, because if you release A while in a big jump, you immediately stop going upwards.
Yeah, which can be actually really scary. There's sort of like a really fast falling physics in 6. Usually you see that become a factor when the runners get to Centaur, because there's a couple scary jumps in the water where you're trying to sort of feather your way through the spikes, and sometimes you let go of A and you just sort of like fall like a brick, which is pretty unusual. Like most of the time when you're in water in the other games, you kind of hang there for a while. 4 stages left for Beef, though. He's made, you know, a really decent run out of it. He did struggle a little bit there in Mega Man 4 and a bit in 5, but he's definitely composed himself up and got himself back on pace of where he wants to be in 6, because he's doing a very good job here.
Tomahawk Man, probably the easiest robot stage, I would say.
Yeah, Tomahawk and Yamato, definitely the easier ones. Like this stage, it is, I guess, it's pretty long, but you see a lot of these screens are actually pretty short. So you have time to sort of compose your, like, sort of get your composure for each screen and go, okay, I need to do this, and the next screen, I need to do this. And that's kind of nice. It allows you to sort of figure out.
There's almost no instant death traps either.
Right, yeah. Very few. I think like the last 2 screens, and that's about it. So Slurpee looks like he's going to just ride the bubble here, which I think maybe he forgot where the spikes were, so now he's fallen all the way back down. He's going to have to do the bubbles again. Again, seeing how Beef is using Flame's weapon pretty much throughout this entire stage, it's just the weapon of choice usually, because of how much damage it deals. Into this last room here, and at the door.
Definitely one of the more annoying bosses to fight.
Yeah.
With Plant Shield, or Plant Barrier.
Yeah, Plant Barrier is a pretty terrible weapon, and so using it at all is pretty frustrating. Slurpee taking a lot of hits here in this auto-scroller. He's got to be careful because you cannot pause when you're on the boat, so he can't pause to like use an E-tank if he had one. He'd have to just keep going.
Oh, he ran out of plant? Now this gets... Okay, he has an E-tank. It's fine.
Oh yeah, okay, that's good. Tomahawk can be actually pretty tricky to fight without... Just like in 5, when you take damage, you lose your charge, so... it can be kind of a tricky fight. Slurpee sort of living by the skin of his teeth at the moment. He really needs a health drop at the moment. Gotten a little one there.
It's really tough to fight Waveman without taking damage.
Yeah. Ooh, there's another little one. There's a large one. Okay, we're feeling a little better now.
Yeah.
So, Beef into Yamato again. Just sort of like Tomahawk again, one of the easier stages. It's actually a really short stage too. Because we take the check or the alternate route, and That would be the way you would normally go to get the beat letter. And it skips about 2 or 3 screens. Like, it actually saves quite a bit of time. Ooh, still getting bonked by one of those dragonfly bombs. And ooh, Slurpee taking the death right before getting his kill. So he's gonna have to try to fight Wave again. Thankfully, he's gonna be getting out of this stage and out of this game, so he'll be able to get back to one he's sort of more used to. And Wave is down. So both runners into the last game now.
What's the closest race that's been so far in the tournament?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think I've personally commentated a race that's been closer than a stage or so. I think like the closest one, I'll have to go back and take a look, but
I know the Darkman and Peapod one was kind of close.
yep, they were definitely close throughout most of that, especially the early game too. Ooh, Beef taking a death to Yamato.
Yamato is actually really annoying to fight. It feels like he has a longer invulnerability period than all the other bosses. For some reason.
Yeah. The one benefit to Yamato is he only has 2 types of actions. One is to throw a spear at you like that, and the other is to jump. And he can only do those patterns at a maximum of twice in a row. So if he jumps twice, you're 100% going to get the spear throw. And if he spear throws twice, you're going to get a jump for sure. So it's kind of nice. You can kind of read him a little bit. But second try, Beef gets through there. So he's only got 2 stages to go.
Yeah, Slurpee is definitely going faster now.
Yeah, into a game that he's a little more familiar with. Might be a little too late for him here. It would take a pretty big meltdown, I think, from Beef to allow Slurpee to catch up, but we'll see.
I would say Nightman is the hardest Robot Master stage. In my personal opinion.
Yeah, both Knight and Centaur are actually pretty challenging, especially for newer runners, because there's some... If you go for some of the tougher speed strats, like this jump right here that Beef is just electing to wait on, you can beat the ceiling down there, beat it by going really fast, and it's a pretty scary jump. You got to do a kind of a light tap of A, and then also, you know, make sure that you do the pause buffer right through the spikes so you don't get crushed. But yeah, Night is actually one of my favorite stages. It's my favorite song in the game, and the stage is actually pretty fun to play as well. Plus, you get mad nerds, which is, you know, kind of a little benefit. Beef coming through one of the harder rooms of this stage. This checkpoint room is a little scary. Slurpee, I think, forgot where to go. Then he finds Flame. He goes, all right, I remember.
That was strange.
Yeah, he was sort of floating around the stage select. Here's the Mad Nerds. Coming into this last room of night, the bouncy castle room.
This room makes no sense.
Yeah. Ooh, Slurpee taking a death there at the very end of the first screen of Flame.
I didn't see, but I suspect it tried to slide on the last platform.
Yeah, I only caught the death animation, so I'm guessing since it was a fire down there that he missed his cancel and slid off onto the flames. Knight being a little bit jumpy as always, but Beef is going to get his kill here, so. One stage to go.
Slurpee having some problems with the cloud platform.
Yeah. And like Fasta said earlier, before he was having his faster net problems, this is a pretty critical race in this pool. You've got the 4 runners in this pool are Fasta himself, Slurpee, Beef, and Javeth. And Beef's already got a win, so with this win here, he may clinch. We'll see how the rest of the races go, but I mean, pretty much at a point where almost mathematically, I think he may clinch with this win here, so...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's... I mean, in
Unless,
theory...
I guess Monster loses to...
Slurpee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be...
a weird situation.
Yeah, I think so. So this is a pretty critical race between these 2 runners, so this could be a pretty big run, or pretty big win if Beef can get through this final stage.
Oh, no. Scary spikes.
Yeah, and this is that room I was talking about where sometimes the jumps are a little bit awkward because when you let go of A, you kind of fall faster than some of the other water physics in the other games. But Beef does have plenty of time here, so he can definitely take his time through the stage. He doesn't have to rush anything. Slurpee's off to Blizzard. I like it. Beef using his iframes to get past the spikes there, making that a lot easier. It's a very good idea. He's gonna have to wait for the water ceiling to come back down so he can make his big jump. Only a few rooms to go here. You see Beef like just taking it super safe, like he's even spots here where it could be potentially some easy slides. He's just saying, nope, I'm just gonna walk it. Not gonna risk anything. Yeah. And I mean, getting through the room he just did there pretty much seals the deal. I mean, that's really like the last place in the stage you can die, and the centaur fight isn't too hard. It can be a little tricky.
There's almost no way he's gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Or you kill him.
He does have the E-Tank too, so he might as well use it here. So that'll make this fight completely free. So Beef should have this one locked down. So congratulations to him. Does get a teleport here. Teleports are always bad luck because they cost you about a couple seconds. And gets flashed here, unfortunately. But only 1 teleport, which is only about 2 seconds time loss, so it's not too bad. So Beef does finish in first place. RaceBot gave him a 2 hour, 8 minute, and 30 second time, so obviously that latency of RaceBot always taking a few seconds away from you. So congrats to Beef.
Need to look at the brackets. I haven't been following very closely actually.
Yeah, we'll definitely be taking a look at the pools after this race finishes. Slurpee does need to keep going. Again, just in case of tiebreakers, you know, you want to have all your best times down if you can. But yeah, for Slurpee now at this point, for him to move on, he's going to need to beat both Javeth and Fasta. And that would, I think, if that worked out that way, he would actually move on with Beef, because the tiebreaker with him and Fasta would end up coming down to their race, and he would have beat him. So Slurpee's not out of it yet, but it's gonna be pretty tough because Fasta's a pretty strong contender.
There's actually a possibility of a 3-way tie as well. in that group.
Yeah. I'm gonna see. I don't know if Slurpee is using a microphone. I'll see if I can switch to his audio. We'll find out here very shortly. Yeah, he is, unfortunately, so I'm not going to be able to use that. So I'll pull up some just random audio. So into Plant Man stage. This stage, it is the most difficult of Mega Man 6's 8 robots for sure, just because of these springs and everything. Looks like Slurpee's gonna go for plant forms. And he's got them. Very nice. Saving some time here. Springs are still part of the hard part though. He's gonna play it a little bit safe, but very nice. Goes for the tougher strat and it pays off.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
So it doesn't go for the glitch to try to make Plant Man walk around, but is getting double hits, which is still important as well.
$42 down, 4 to go. From the hardest stage to the easiest.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so just 4 stages to go. Tomahawk and Yamato again, sort of being a little bit more easy. And then we'll see a couple a little more tricky stages with Knight and Centaur. Getting a nice little double hit there with Flame. Flame is kind of nice. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, it's kind of nice that Flame has that sort of arc in the shot, so it allows you to hit some enemies that are sort of lower than you. Sort of like the opposite of Tomahawk's weapon, which sort of arcs upward. I think they actually did a pretty good job in this game of making the weapons really useful. Sort of giving you ones that sort of go all sorts of different directions. It's pretty neat. Slurpee coming into the Tomahawk fight. Hopefully he doesn't lose any plant barrier.
Yeah, it's actually 2 bosses in this game that you have just enough weapon energy for.
Yeah.
But we only see 1 in this category.
Ooh, Slurpee's really low on health and he's going for it. He takes the death too. That's a double KO and that will not count. He's going to have to fight Tomahawk again.
Very few Mega Man games counts double KOs in your favor.
Yeah. Yeah, really, like, 2's, other than, like, very, like, limited situations in 4, which is basically just refights. 2 is probably the only other game that does.
Rockman and Forte, but same as 4, very limited.
Right. Slurpee having to be really careful now. This fight is a lot trickier than the plant fight, but he does get a pretty reasonable pattern actually, as Tomahawk stays sort of in the corner and doesn't really do a whole lot.
M2 only counts them if you manage to kill the boss after you die.
Right. Yes, that is correct. Which seems ridiculous when you hear it like that. It's like, well, how do you kill a boss after you're dead? But there are strats involved, especially in like the Bubble Man fight, where runners actually do go for double KOs, and they have a setup for it.
Ooh, scary jump. I really like the jetpack. I wish it was in the run more.
Yeah, the rush adapters are pretty cool in this game. I'm glad that they do both get used. Just like it is kind of scary to think that, you know, there's some, you know, some weapons in some of the games you just don't use. Like obviously there's some terrible ones like Coil in 5, but like even in Mega Man 4, Jet really doesn't get a whole lot of use until the very end of the game, which is kind of sad, but Balloon is just so much better.
Yeah. Imagine if Wire was really useful.
Yeah. Could you imagine if Wire was sort of more like the minus infinity version, where you could use it in midair?
Oh, you can't use it in midair?
No, have to be
Oh.
on the ground. It's
Oh, damn.
pretty unfortunate.
I want it to be like Bionic Commando style.
Right.
You can swing with it.
Yamato's down. 2 stages to go.
Beat E part.
Yeah, the only beat part we'll get. Unfortunately, Beat is even worse in 6 than he is in 5, so even in the normal any percent speed route, we don't get him because he just isn't good.
I mean, he's good in 5.
Oh yeah. 5 he's useful for like the castles and stuff, but yeah, Beat doesn't work the same way in this game. Like he doesn't deal any damage to bosses, so ooh, Slurpy's gonna have to be careful. Okay, he's got the iframes.
Casually walking under his spikes.
Yeah.
No yet strats here.
Yeah, we haven't seen too many people pull out the jet strats, but a few people have. It's kind of neat to see. Getting sniped out of midair. So that's actually kind of common to happen when people don't stop there. But then unfortunately, having a drop there kind of eat Slurpy's cancel or his jump, one or the other. Oh, and then he tried to back deboost the bullet.
Oh, no.
Not a good idea. Just get hit if you're doing this. You're better off to just get hit.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I almost don't slide at all in this room when I do it.
Yeah,
It's like one free slide at the top that I do, and then nothing.
yeah. We've definitely seen a few people do that. Just elect to not slide in that room at all. Ooh. Almost had a really nice Mad Nerd room. Just unfortunately missed his third spear. Into the bouncy castle room. bonking into that sliding, spiny enemy. Let's see what Nightman gives Slurpee. Good start. Ooh, there's a high jump. We don't want to see those. Couple jumps, not too terrible though. One more Robot Master to go. 45 down.
Let's go, Centaur Man. Do you know that people actually thought about doing Centaur first a few years back?
Yeah, I could see it. I could see people thinking about that. I can't imagine the pain it would be to have to fight him and worry about all the different teleports.
Mm.
So into this water room now.
Yeah, goes for night early.
Yeah, we've seen a couple people start to do that now, actually. Change to night a little bit earlier. Sort of preference to the runners. Sometimes you can change to night a lot later and do Buster strats through these rooms.
Buster is a little faster, right?
They're both pretty equal. We're thinking potentially maybe if night is done really optimal that it could maybe be a little bit faster, actually. But the only reason of that would be because you can kill the pelican, that last pelican of the first room. You can kind of kill him without needing to do a high jump. And you can get a little bit more slide on that screen. It's very, very minimal, the difference. And not even very many people are going for that with the early night switch yet, so it's more common to see them both sort of equal out. Slurpee's actually getting a little bit low on night here, so you see he's not actually killing these submarines. He's just going to shoot them to get them out of his way. And his health is a little low. He's got the E-Tank, which looks like he's going to use right now.
He still has way more night than he needs, actually.
Oh yeah, for sure. You only need the 7, so he's got about 10 or 11 there. Here we go. Into the final boss room. Gets a teleport off the bat again. That's not a really good pattern. Teleports cost you 2 seconds, so hopefully we don't see too many of those. He's got exact ammo now. He's got to be careful. There it is.
There we go.
So, Slurpee does finish in second here this tonight with a 2:23.03 according to RaceBot. So, that was Slurpee's first race. I think, again, like a lot of games like 4 and 5, I think were pretty much new runs to him. I think he was learning those games from scratch, so pretty decent considering, like, you know, first sort of attempt through them, I think. I don't think he's gotten a whole lot of time to practice those games. So again, congrats to Beef on the win. Let's take a look at the pools here and see if we can play some catch up and see what's going on.
Sure.
So we've got Pool A here at the moment. Nero's got a couple wins here.
Dominating.
Yeah, he's
much.
probably going to easily move on here. The sort of wild card here is they had a dropout and Kazes filled in, so it's going to be interesting to see how some of Kazes' older strats from a little bit further back are going to go in the tournament, but definitely don't forget to
Which
forget
one is
him.
Cases?
He's in Pool A. So he replaced, I think it was Mega Fan X or something his name was.
Oh, I still see Mega Fan X on mine.
Oh, okay. It might not be updated on the tournament
Oh, okay.
pool yet. I'm not sure. We've got Pool B, which still has only had one race. Toad and Zoda had their race a few days ago. Toad taking that one by a couple minutes. Pool C, which has Primal already clinched. He clinched earlier today, or I guess yesterday now, with a 3-0 record, winning all of his matches in this pool. So congrats to him of clinching. We've got Pool D, which has Baron in the lead with 2-0 record. Avalon and Ozma both with a win apiece. So we'll see who can sort of come out on top of that pool. Both of them have definitely the opportunity to take the second place of that pool.
So I guess the last one is between them then.
Yep,
They have
definitely. Well, I think they have played already, and I believe Avalon won. That's his win, was against Ozma. So I feel like he might have the little bit of an advantage there, because I think Ozma still has to play Baron, I want to say. So, but we'll see. Anything can happen. Mathematically, he's definitely still got a chance, so we'll see what happens. Becco got a win earlier tonight against Mr. Cab. So, again, going 2-0 right now in that category, or in that pool, so sort of in a commanding lead. Cassio also has one more race to go, and Cab still with 2 more to go, so don't count Cab out quite yet, but he's got his work cut out for him now, and that he's got that one loss. Pool F, we have Mazimov already clinched, and we'll likely probably see Colonel Fatso clinch as well, but technically he's not officially clinched quite yet. Pool G, Darko also, just like Primal, going 3-0 in his pool, so he's clinched and moved on. So that second spot is sort of up for grabs between Negazeus, Too Good, and Enemies, so we'll see which of those 3 can sort of come out on top. Pool H, Terex, Prissy, and Doisium all have wins. So really, I mean, again, any of those 3 guys could really sort of take those 2 spots and move on. So a lot of different possible outcomes there.
The most even group so far.
Yeah, for sure. Pool I, we have Potat with that still 2-0 lead, so he's looking very good to be moving on, I think. It's a really strong chance. I believe his race with Conster is actually coming up very soon, so we'll see if he actually officially clinches, I'm guessing pretty quick. And tonight, with that race, Beef going 2-0, he actually has clinched now, because his only other race left is against Fasta. So even if he loses to Fasta, with having wins against both Slurpee and Javeth, even if he ties one of them for second place, he will have the advantage and take the second spot. So Beef with that clinching win.
If Slurpee somehow beats both Fasta and Javeth, there are 3 people on 2-1.
It's true, but because Beef beat Slurpee tonight, he will get the advantage.
But in a 3-way tie, they all beat each other, so you can't. You have to go by score instead.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that would be.
So it's not written in stone yet, but it's
Yeah, it would be. I guess you'd go off of their times overall, but I think. Well, let's see. If Fasta ends 2-1, that means that he
lost to Slurpee.
either loses to Beef or Slurpee. Which, if he loses to Beef, Beef would be 3-0. But yeah, he lost to Slurpee. And then
Slurpee
Beef
lost
would
to
have to
Beef.
be.
And Beef lost to Fasta.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be interesting then. So I guess in theory, Beef hasn't quite clinched, but it's pretty much a clinch, I think.
Yeah. It's
Well
even
then.
if you take scores, the times into good.
We'll just swap that out then and put that there like that. All right, so yeah, that's sort of how the pools are sort of set up right now. We'll see how these pools start to shape. We've got one more week for these runners to get the rest of their pool matches done, so some of these guys got to sort of pick up the pace and get more races in, because after this, I think it's next Saturday is the last day of races, so after that Saturday goes by, we're going to be entering into the single elimination bracket, so we definitely sort of want to be getting a lot more of these races out of the way so we can be moving on. But yeah, I mean, that's it for me tonight. So thanks again for joining me here near the end here, Joka. It was really appreciated that.
Yeah, I need to go as well. So
Perfect. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Glad you could all stop in and take a at any point through this. Hope you enjoyed the runs. Congrats again to Beef, and we'll catch you next time. Take care, everyone.
Bye bye.